Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to my weekly podcast series called Encouragement for Your Life. Most of you know I'm a national speaker, trainer, and coach. I like to say I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking, presentation skills, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. I've got a number of other presentations on my website if you'd like to check those out. If your organization has an upcoming conference and you need a keynote speaker, I hope you'll reach out at debsofield.com. I would love to be a part. I've got a number of great books on the market. My best-selling book, Speak Without Fear. My book, Perfecting Your Platform. Both of those are on Amazon and Audible if you like to listen to books. And my series, Encouragement for Your Life, which is a compilation of these podcasts, they're available on Amazon, volumes 1 through 3. Just go into Amazon, type in my name, Deb Sofield, all my books will appear. I've got a great show this week. I'm calling it Let Go or Be Dragged. I hope you'll join me. I'm Deb Sofield. Stay tuned. I'll be right back after the break. So a couple weeks ago, I gave a show called Givers Need to Set Limits Because Takers Never Do. And I want to go one step further today and encourage you to start on a more level emotional life path. And here's my thought for this week. Some of you who are listening today, dear friend, you need to let go or you will be dragged along. I know it seems simple enough to say, let go, but oh my, how many times have you given someone just one more chance? In reality, it's their 54th. But it's not like you're counting or anything, and you, by constantly caving into their emotional outburst or hurtful words or accusations, you let yourself, once again, be dragged through the emotional pain that you promised yourself you would walk away from last time. And yet here you are again. Simply put, they got what they wanted. And that is all that matters to them because you, let's be honest, you don't matter. They don't care how you feel. You've been their verbal, emotional, and in some heartbreaking way, a physical punching bag for so long now. Friend, you've grown numb to the pain. And for so many good-hearted people, it just seems easier to be dragged through the ups and downs than to let go. So as your friend and coach, I have to ask, why? Are you mesmerized by them in such a way that you can't see through their actions that continually hurt you and break your heart? Are you just a hopeful person who, by faith or belief, thinks that you'll be rewarded one day with their return to the fold? That's a hard one. I get it. I know. Or are you just bullheaded enough to believe you can change someone else's mind? Come on. Okay. I know I'm going to hurt your feelings today. Please know from my heart to your ears and eyes, it is not my purpose to add to your pain and hurt. Now, that being said, I believe some of you need to dust off the mirror, open the door, crack a window, so good-hearted you, kind, loving you, can see what's waiting on the other side when you finally let go and stop being dragged. A lot of people write me often about my shows, but the one that I did about givers need to set limits because takers never do, oh man, without a doubt, a lot of you wrote me. Why? Because we all have friends and family members who push the envelope of our goodness and generosity, and then they scream when they don't get their way, blaming us for their misfortune. Yes, they are crazy. And thinking about today's theme, let go or be dragged, the idea that keeps rolling around in my head is the thought of boundaries. I like the quote, a lack of boundaries invites a lack of respect. The same is true of my theme today, because it seems to me that some of you need to consider when will you put the final boundary in place and not give in. I believe it's important to spend time thinking about the next outburst when those you love purposefully cross the line of decent behavior that would be expected of any adult. You need to consider when enough is enough, and then you can make a well thought out and for many prayerful decision to finally let go. Because friend, if you don't consciously ready yourself for that day, you will no doubt go back on your resolve and be dragged down the road of the emotional pain, hurt, and turmoil, for another year or 5, until one day, when you least expect it, you, good, kind, sweet you, it's going to reach a boiling point, and you're going to react with anger, with all the frustration and hurt that you've been holding back. And then you, yes, nice, sweet you, will regret or be made to regret that decision for the rest of your life. Because goodness knows, those who use you will always hurl your emotional reaction back to you with a vengeance that carries the full force of their deep-seated anger, fury, and wrath for having lost control over you to do what they want you to do, which is what you've been doing for years, covering for them and paying their way until they tire of you and leech on to someone else. When you think about it reasonably, it's not about you, but what you can do for them. Because by now, you know they really don't care about you. I mean, let's just be honest. Be truthful with yourself for once. They don't care about you. All right? Tough love, Deb. Someone needs to say that to you. And the emotional tie or bond that you thought you had, it's broken. And they had to bury it and convince themselves that it didn't matter because you don't matter. And the hardest part is you will never know how the bond broke so severely that they refuse to recognize it. They've said that they don't care about you 100 times, but you refuse to hear them because never in your wildest dreams would you not care about them. And the idea of not caring is such a foreign thought to you that in your emotional exhaustion, you've missed the signs and are continuing to be dragged along. Alone. So, to save a piece of your heart, pre-planning is the key when it comes to letting go. When you love and care about someone, letting go is never easy. But this isn't about easy. It's about healing and rest and being settled as best you can with a decision that you made because it's the right thing for you and perhaps the rest of your family, no matter how loudly and bitterly and tearfully the other person reacts. And let me warn you now, they will either fight you or forever walk away from you and the family. And they'll justify their walking away because they have convinced themselves that since you won't give in and do what they want, you don't love them. Oh, cry me a river of tears. Okay, you got to know by now that Deb's a little tough love. Here's the key. They don't care. And here's the other key. They forgot about the damage or how they broke that bond years ago, because I'll remind you once again, they don't care. So how do you move forward now that you've decided to let go? I've got 3 ideas I want to share, and I'm basing this on the assumption that you're dealing with an adult, someone who is at least in their 20s. Oh, let's hope they're adult by 20. Probably the most important thing to understand is that the relationship has changed. Friend, you got to accept that. Many times you can't put a finger on the exact time you felt the shift happen, but by their actions, you probably sensed something had changed. And what makes this hard is sometimes you feel like you might have caused the commotion. But since they won't acknowledge it, or worse yet, they make up some silly reason to blame you for their actions. If that's the case, then you need to know that since the relationship has changed, you, dear listener, need to let go or you'll be dragged along for years. I know it's hard. In my own life, I am sure I've misplaced some friends along the way, and I really don't know what happened. But when I look back on the relationships and I really think about how they interpreted actions and reactions to suit themselves at the expense of others, I had to understand that the relationship changed by their own doing, not mine. You'll see this with friends who always want to give you advice or challenge everything you say, but when you nicely suggest something back to them, they are offended. Or when the friend or family are doing something wrong, don't be surprised if they drift away because they really don't want to hear your admonition to get back on track. Listen, consider yourself lucky if they walk away without the drama an accusation would cause. Listen, I know it's tough love advice to believe this, but since the relationship has changed, friend, you've got to accept that and move on with your own life. And here's the best advice I can give you for understanding the new dynamic of your former relationship. And it's this. Once you accept the idea of letting go, make sure you let go with love. This is more for you than about them, because at this point, I'm tired of them. I know I say it a lot, but you can love someone from a distance. Doesn't mean you don't care, because you probably always will. But due to their actions, you've chosen to guard your heart and mind. When you let go with love, you free yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically. Carrying around the burden of a lost relationship, it's hard. It's hard on you and it's hard on those who love you because we're seeing the weight of the burden on your life. I don't think life was meant to be so sad for many people who refuse to accept the fact that the relationship changed or it ended. By letting go with love, you'll be able to keep the good memories in place and protect yourself when you set the boundary of your love and affection, even if it's from afar. Remember, you most likely will never be in a position to change their mind, but it doesn't have to change your love. It just gives you some space to protect your heart and mind from the coldness of their attitude towards you. All right, finally, I know you'll be glad when this is over because it's tough. Consider your boundaries and set limits on what you allow others to take from you. I've used this quote before, but it rings true. Give the gift of absence to those who don't appreciate your presence. Okay, that's brilliant. Let's say it again. Give the gift of absence to those who don't appreciate your presence. I have to ask, why are you still begging to be seen by someone who is blind to you and your love, who has consistently proven that they don't appreciate you? All right, not to be overly harsh and unkind. Okay, I know it sounds that way, but listen, I'm thinking about you, not them. Help me out here. What kind of improbable odds are you trying to beat with your thinking? Do you really think that they will break down and come running back into the fold? Seriously, do you believe they will change with your tears? Hey, they've seen your tears and they've turned away, cold, unbroken, and uninterested. I understand that that is not easy in a perfect world. Love should last a lifetime. I wish it did. My friends, I truly do. I'm not that cold-hearted. But to protect you and guide them, I believe you got to set your boundaries. Because that could be, all right, I'm going to change it. That is one of the most loving and fair gifts you can give to both of you. Here's the bottom line. I'm writing this tough love message to you today because my wish for you is a big, joyful, and successful life that allows you the freedom to travel your path, to have the strength for your amazing journey, and the blessing of your goodness and love for those who are fortunate enough to call you friend and family. To do great things, my friend, although it might be hard, you gotta let go so you can live. Because being dragged down the road of life is not living. Here's what it is. It is a very slow and painful death. And you, yes you deserve better than that. You know it, and I know it. And here's what I know. You owe it to yourself and others to let go and live big. You know it, and I know it. So now let's live that way for the rest of your life. All right, believe it or not, you've been listening to Deb Sofield's encouragement for your life, and I hope you'll join me next week. I want to continue this journey as we work towards your better day, for a better life for the rest of your life. And remember, Deb doesn't care what the world says about you. I want you to know I care about you, and I care about you because some of you haven't learned to let go, and you are being dragged along, and it is harming your future. And I'm not going to let that happen. But here's what I will do. I will walk alongside you as we untangle you so you can follow your dream to success. And I'll be right beside you. All right, take care, everybody. Join me next week. I'll try to be a little nicer.